month. They, they rented an extra space property just to see what happened, and they got 4 rate increases in a year.
Oh yeah. But then here's the other thing. If you're looking at that much of a price differential, because it could easily be on Cube, it's like a 40% from office to web, and extra space tends to roll from about, I think, 25 to about 45. Uh, I, my other concern about that is how many calls are you not getting? Because people see the price and they're going there first. Not even so much training your manager, which I think is what you just said is completely obvious to do that. But how many of those calls are you not getting because the rate is that much different? And those are the things I can't quantify. They're just the questions I have when I start thinking about some of these things.
Matt, strike through pricing was a conversation yesterday with Carlos and Scott about the legality of strike through pricing and all that. I know I have never been a strike through person. I don't do it. Never did. Not a big fan of strike through pricing. Some people love it, but they said that can that be an issue? And down the road, some people said, yeah.
So my
It's
question
it's
is,
a
when
it's a
it comes
marketing and
to,
psychological issue, not a legal issue. What's their
If
what's the line
Look,
here?
if California folded on the rate increase part, I don't expect to get too much flack from any state on strike-through pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Although the New York City thing may change some stuff with extra space, but we'll see how that rolls.
I think for me, strike through pricing is more of a ethical thing than not. I mean, my rate has always been my rate. I don't want to play. I mean, how many times we've all done it? We've all gone places to rent a unit or whatever, and oh yeah, your website says this. Well, yeah, you got to go outside and rent, or you got to go on your phone and do it. I don't play those games. If I'm gonna have a rate of $150 for a 10 by 10, it's gonna be 150 for a 10 by 10, no matter where you get it.
It's simpler.
Um,
so
I,
I got a question. So when it comes to your guys' rate locks or what you think, do you guys do it a discounted rate lock, or do you guys bring it up to, say, your online, it's for a 5 by 5 is $30, but if you do a rate lock for a year, it's $50, or do you do it to where it's $28?
I'm running a tiered pricing, so you can purchase a unit that has a rate lock, and it costs more than a unit that does not have a rate lock.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm testing that at some locations. I actually have 3 tiers: 6 months, 1 year, and none. And then I have a spread between all three.
Okay.
I think
That
that's
is-
a good way of doing it.
Yeah, general substitutes, instead of giving them a discount for a rate lock, which again would be the counter opposite, you might as well put your rates lower to get people in the door and then do the rate hikes.
I've been testing it for about 2.5, 3 months at four locations.
Randy, you're doing good, better, best with that model. So
good, better, and best.
okay,
So,
okay,
so
okay.
the good unit is 6 months, the best unit is a year, and the economy unit is no rate guarantee. And then I have a spread of between the best, it's 18% to the premium, and then it's a 12% discount down to the economy unit. And the interesting thing is, with the exception of one of my units, I've only one of my facilities, I've only rented 2 economy units in the last 2 months. Everybody else has been taking best and premium, and I tried it at different socioeconomic type of properties. So I have it at urban properties and I have it at suburban properties, and I was really surprised about the urban property, and how people were taking the standard unit or the premium unit.
So is that just based from your website, or is that when people call in?
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I walk in, call in. I don't discern between how a customer is acquired.
Yeah, no, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to understand, like, is it prompted on their website if they do it
It's on
online?
my website. If you go to the correct facility, you'll see it on my website. You'll get a good, better, and best, and it'll explain the difference between the three. Yeah.
Okay, and who do you use?
For what? My website?
Yeah,
It's a storable website.
okay.
Randy, what FMS are you using? SiteLink or Storage?
I'm using Storage, and then I'm using
Okay.
ProRise. So
Okay.
ProRise is setting my standard rate, and then we're going from there.
Yeah, like I said, that's the same thing that sorry, I'll actually come on camera. The same thing that I'm going through right now is getting all that reset up, for under SSM. So working with Steve and Veritech and
Mm-hmm.
doing on our test on what we call a training facility and training website to get all that set up.
And I wasn't raising the rate for 11 months anyway. So why not tell people?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Uh, we keep going on here, but I want to have an opportunity to be able to say welcome to the Storage Meetup. As you can tell, conversations just keep going. We kind of started this about the rates during our pre-show hangout. So if you're not aware, we kind of hang out half hour before the actual show gets started, and sometimes we talk about baseball and the weather, and sometimes it actually leads to actual storage topics. So welcome to join a little bit earlier if you want to hang out, but we'll officially get this one started. Appreciate everyone taking the time out of their Friday and joining us here for another storage meetup. If you want to turn your camera on, it's always better to be able to see everyone's faces. To start off with the meetups, we've been doing these show and tells, and it gives 10 minutes to be able to have an opportunity to kind of see vendors and see what's out there in the industry. So I want to make sure we jump on and have Shane from Sell Express come on. There you are. You're ready to go.
Cool. Yeah, now I'm not muted. So can you guys see?
Yep, you're good. Go right ahead, man.
Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for having me. I found this group, maybe a few months ago, and like Jim said, every time I join, it's always great flowing conversation. So it's exciting to be able to present here. But yeah, this is Sale Express. We're a sales quality assurance and training software. So we use AI to analyze your phone calls and then try to use that data to help your team become more efficient. So here's what I plan on doing with my 10 minutes of fame here. We'll talk about where we're at today, right now, in self-storage sales standards. It's a tongue twister, excuse me. We'll talk about the shift that occurs whenever you're able to analyze every single phone call and get data from every phone call, some of our features, and then hopefully we'll have some time for some questions and next steps. So first, actually, I guess I lied. The Sale Express was actually built inside of a self-storage company. So we're hyper focused on providing value for store express or self-storage operators. So the tenants that we kind of built this behind were, we want to provide automated call monitoring, use that monitoring and those analytics to provide data for management decisions focused around better sales and better increasing your occupancy for the bottom line to make more money, right? To increase your revenue and just overall get better on the phones. So that's kind of the goal that we have. For today's world, though, in self-storage, I think AI agents and replace have become the big thing, and replacing conversations. I think we almost forget that at the end of the day, like, sales is still king, right? Those dials are money. 75% of prospects that are calling you actually choose between the first two facilities that they call. So if we aren't closing at a high rate, we're missing opportunity, and just focusing on this can be one of the highest ROI opportunities that you do. And if you do decide to focus on it, I think the first natural step is to start to record and listen to phone calls. You really quickly realize it's impossible to keep up. People listen to about 2% of their total call volume. And if you are spending time listening to calls, like, it's good, and you should continue to do that, but it's just overwhelming, right? There's just too many calls to keep up with. After that, people move to multiple different training avenues, whether it's a full-time sales trainer. People use mystery shopping programs. Those are common, or even programs like Sandler or Carnegie has a program. Too often, though, they're very costly and unguided, right? So they don't have that context of where you're at right now. And oftentimes they're just straight up very expensive. Another thing that I think is interesting is, we have a lot of data in this world. We have exact flows on where in our website customers are falling off, our email rates, open rates, things like that. But we don't have any actual data on what our conversations look like with our customers, some of our like highest impact moments. We have almost no data with, because previously it just wasn't possible, but now with AI, it really is. And if we do decide to track some of those data, it's really hard to track something like how often did we successfully offer a free month of storage, or maybe are we offering that rate lock? It's really hard to be able to track those things consistently. So we have to revert to vaguer metrics such as, answer rate, close rate, things like that. At the end of the day, the blind spot that I'm trying to refer to and what we're trying to shine light on is that 95% of phone calls that we're not informing your training decisions. You just don't have enough data to find patterns and identify patterns at an effective rate. And this means that managers are kind of going to those squeaky doors, the problem customers, if you will, and not focusing on the core problems or the core issues that might be going on with your phone calls. This ultimately results in coaching focusing on those extremes and not that middle 90% that we want it to be focusing on. Ultimately, agents too often get trained on anecdotes and not the pattern. So we want to try to find those patterns and make light of all of those gray dots that we have on the screen. Another thing is, it's really hard today to say to an agent is someone taking your phone calls, like, okay, here's how you did on your first 50 calls. Let's compare how you're going to do on these next 50 calls, right? If you were going to try to do that, it would take a ton of time. And that would be a great, training exercise to be able to do with people. And that's ultimately where Sale Express comes in and what we're trying to make light of, right? So like I said, we use AI, we analyze your phone calls, and we just try to provide data to help you make better management decisions based on that data. So yeah, what happens whenever this new world of all of your calls being data? The first thing is every single call is a training opportunity, right? You don't have to make big shifts off of one call. You're able to make micro adjustments off of each phone call, and really increase the training loop that you're able to complete. Another thing that we've noticed using this is our coaching meetings have improved a ton, right? So we have a dedicated coach, a concierge team of like 5 people, and they spent a lot of time trying to figure out what the problem was and then time to figure out how to solve it. And this tool has just made it so we can figure out what the problem is a lot quicker, and we can focus on fixing the problem rather than identifying it. This basically means that, your managers are able to coach proactively. You're able to see trends. You're able to compare one agent to the rest of the company and see how they're doing. You don't have to grab little anecdotes over the course of months to figure out what they were actually doing wrong. You're able to see very quickly like what the core problems are and what their tendencies are. And then the other thing is, let's say you have a planned coaching meeting every Wednesday. If you put your shoes in the person of trying to learn, it's really hard to be like, all right, what did I do last Friday? Let me try to get better at that. Like having that immediate feedback, just very plainly leads to faster learning. So yeah, managers are able to stop guessing and teams are able to improve faster. Moving on, I let's not forget that by the time someone is on the phone with you, you've already spent a ton of money to get them there. Whether it's the facade you put up, the big fancy sign with your phone number on it, or your website, whatever it is, like if they're on the phone, they probably have a credit card in hand, right? They might be a little confused about storage. If we're not able to capture them and we don't know why, there's a huge opportunity there to just understand what's going on in our phone calls, because doing better there will make the rest of your spend for your entire company more effective. So these are, based off of your call volume, if you're able to just do 5% better, it can have a massive impact in 1 year, on your bottom line. So
2-minute warning.
Yep. Thanks. And also just for context, the price for this, depending on your team size, anywhere from 2 to 5 extra rentals in a month, will cover your cost for the whole year for Sale Express. So it's a very affordable product. So what's it look like? Process is pretty simple. We'll create a rubric with you. Some of you guys might already have some, so we can adapt it. We'll connect up to your VoIP system, and from there you can start to see those trends come in. You're able to give reports to your employees and things like that. So it's a very simple process, is what this slide's trying to portray. So we can jump in. Since I am starting to run out of time, at the end of the day, custom rubrics, it's all about defining that North Star, right? What gets measured gets improved. And being able to measure each one of these, whatever pieces of the conversation you want, that is what will guide your agents to getting better. For each call, you're able to get that unbiased feedback off of that rubric that you created. You'll get a summary, and then you'll get these strengths and weaknesses based off of a AI sales model that we've built. That these will kind of be those pivot points that your agents are able to learn from. For trend tracking, this is where your managers will probably live. You're able to see 1,000-foot view of your calls, see what specialties are doing well, things like that, and dial in on individual agents and things like that. For our VoIPs that we're connect with RingCentral and AirCall. So if you have one of them, that's great. Call potential is giving us some problems, but we're basically there. And also, you can just upload calls. It takes 5 minutes to upload them, and it's a very simple process. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Right now, for everyone in the group, I'm offering free reports that we're giving out. If you send me 5 of your call recordings, I'll run them through our system, create that report. You can see the insights that you're able to discover from our tool, and you'll see exactly how your team's doing. So let me drop this link in there. And I think that's really all I have. If anyone has questions, let me know. But...
Oh, great. Yeah, put all your contact information, call to actions in the chat. That'd be awesome.
Cool.
But no, I mean, you said it before. It just comes down to what gets measured improves.
Absolutely.
And there's the tools like this where you can start analyzing your calls just to keep tweaking. And I always say it's just that 1% metric. If you can just improve by 1% and just keep focusing on that, it's amazing where you're at just 30 days later.
Yep.
Just being mindful of it, frankly. I had a quick question though. So when it comes to that, so you can upload, or it can tie it in directly with your calls, so you don't have to worry about uploading the calls
Yep.
as well. Okay.
Yeah, so you're able to bulk upload. A lot of these VoIP providers will give you export tools, but then also we have every time a call is completed with AirCall, it sends us a notification, and then RingCentral, we're querying every minute. So
no, that's great. Yeah, put your information in there, and if you want to have any screenshots of kind of what the grading process or what it kind of looks like, yeah, drop them in there and kind of see more of a visual. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, man. Again, if people are interested in that, we do this 10 minutes each storage meetup at the doors show and tells, and I probably shouldn't promote it too much because I think we're booked out for like 3 months. So
Now, aren't we up through like May or something?
something like that. I don't know. So yeah, it's good. I like doing this. Just gives you a little flavor of what's up and what's going on out there. And if you want more information, cool.
Corey just asked a question for Shane. Are you PCI compliant?
Yeah, I was trying to look into exactly that's like private information, credit card information. So we actually make sure to block out any credit cards or personal information or things like that. So I don't, we don't have an official standard that we have achieved, but I don't save any of that data. I don't want to save any of that data.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you, man. As you were talking, I was kind of going through some of the chats earlier as well. When we first started talking, I want to make sure we hit on this. Anthony, are you still on the call? I know you're walking around, but
Yeah, I'm back at my desk now.
cool. All right, thanks, man. I just saw your post when we were talking about Google Business Profiles and reviews. You just mentioned in there about having your customers taking pictures as part of their reviews. Are you directing them to do that? Because I don't get that organically. No one takes pictures. I was just curious how that's working for you.
With something that we just started, especially at one of our locations, just because I know that it pushes a little bit more, like a photo. Give me an example, and we've started, not quite successful yet. However, when we're encouraging customers to leave a review, hey, take a picture of the facility, add it or whatever. But me, I can use myself as an example. Looking at different places, different things, especially we think of restaurants. Okay, if we're going to go to a restaurant, what does the food look like actually? You see the menus, but what does it actually look like? So, and Corey, I don't know if you or I don't know, I can't see if Eva's on my mobile right now. Have you guys seen anything where that would make a difference?
It definitely pushes those reviews up to the top. Like if you're trying to work with getting rid of some negative reviews, the reviews with photos actually get pushed towards the top a lot, is what I'm seeing. So
have you seen people or portfolios or certain sites that are actually doing that well?
I
I haven't. That's
found-
why I'm just curious.
No, I haven't found anything that's where it's super consistent. I think that's harder to roll out. It just is.
I'm all for it. I mean,
Right.
it's just,
Oh no. And I really liked, I was just reading, there was a great suggestion from one of the newsletters that I follow about attaching an image for them to use in their review to make it really easy for them. Like, hey, it'd be great if you included this in your review, and you can kind of word it around that. Kind of very, very helpful. If you put the ask and make it very specific, it can work.
So
But I haven't seen anybody do a great job.
I heard someone do this recently, and I don't know about the legality about it, so don't don't come after me about this.
you don't care
But
about legality.
what they were saying is they it's basically a gift card, and if you do the review right then and there, they'll give you the gift card right then and there, and you can ask for images and things like that. So that's what they're doing, like a Starbucks or a Chick-fil-A gift card.
Ooh.
I don't have a problem with that. I'll give you Amazon. gift
The
card all day
manager
long.
has it on hand and can give it to the person. They just have to provide proof. The manager has to provide proof to the office that happened. Right. So that's an easy way to kind of control the content of what people are uploading.
Right.
Or you can also just say, hey, if you include an image, your review will get, $5 off or a gift card to this.
Yeah, but Eva, doesn't that go against everything Google's already ever
So
said?
you're not asking for any of the content. You're not asking them to say anything. You're just asking for an image within the review if they're going to write one. So that's what the difference
Is that a
is with
gray
that one.
area?
It's a gray area.
That's
It's a
really
gray
gray,
area.
right?
Really, really gray. But
even.
you're not
Would you-
asking for them for the review. You're just saying, if you're going to write a review and add an image, we'll give you guys a gift card.
Yeah, but
So from my
Dark gray.
understanding, you actually can't do that because it's considered a bribe. Like, so previously at the other storage place that I worked at, Google sent out like this huge thing about our Google reviews. And they were like, okay, well, if you're doing this, this is not legit because now you're bribing people to give you something good. But if you changed it with a minute little like, hey, you do this Google review and we'll just say you have 500 tenants. Out of all those people that did the Google reviews, you could stick it in a drawing and do it that way for an incentive, but you can't do it the other way because it's considered a bribe.
How is that different though if you're at a restaurant and they're like, hey, we'll give you a free dessert if you give us a review?
Everybody does it. So I have
Exactly.
I have a nail place. They literally make you go on Yelp, Bing, and Google, and you have to take pictures of your nails so everyone sees I have nails. And you have to like write a review, and they check you right then and there, and they make sure it's a 5-star review.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a very fine gray line whether
is.
you get.
That's not
You
great.
know.
That was completely black. Eva Chavez, you find another nail place.
They're so good though. I can't.
If they don't, they pull your nails right out.
Right? Like,
are actually
gonna
really,
hold
really
you
great.
down?
Well, they gave me a free coffee.
Jim, I don't know, where do you get your nails done at, bud? I don't know.
Oh, just look at them. And they're just gorgeous.
Free
Yeah.
coffee, we get free whatever we want. We get mixed drinks.
Right. We have drinks at ours around here.
Oh, I meant like at a different place. Like they give a gift card to a different place. It's
Oh,
different
nice.
place. It's like these like really, really bougie coffees.
Yeah. I had one of those in an Uber where the guy was like, hey, would you go ahead and give me your star rating right now while you're still in the car? Like making awkward, uncomfortable eye contact with me. Yeah.
Did you like me?
Go ahead and give me the rating on yeah, it was not very
Eva,
nice.
does the different place make you take a picture of the coffee and give them a 5-star review?
That would have been great, Dylan. That would have
People,
been
where do you live? It sounds like the Gestapo, man. No.
I live in Orange County. It is kind of,
Well,
like
move out of California, girl. I mean, what are you talking about?
they've got me stuck on a hook, guys. I can't leave.
I just want to bring it up because it's always a revolving thing of talking about reviews and how important it is. So got to get more strategic when it comes to how to request them, what you can do to request them, how you can stand out when you are requesting, what kind of content. So
did you read Jess Johnson's comment right there? So I would not play Russian roulette with my Google review ever. Trying to recover a page they shut down one time, you'll know why. Jess, spot on point, because I would, Certain things I'll try, but yeah, when it comes
Jim,
to
I think you literally have to make a decision. Are you going to gamble an image for a potential loss of page? In my opinion, it's not worth it at all.
By the way, Chance, congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
What's the promotion? I want to hear.
You're now what, senior something something?
Senior Vice President at Go Store It of Operations.
Well deserved.
Congrats.
Thank you, Sherry.
Now you can rename yourself Chance Nelson. Don't you know who I am? Go.
Who I am. We
So
do
we
know
see-
who you are, Chance.
Will we see you in San Antonio, Chance?
Yes, definitely, 100%.
Catch up.
Yes, sir.
Hugs incoming.
Yes, I think I'm meeting with your counterpart in San Antonio. Isn't Sean going there?
I think he may be there, possibly.
All right, cool. I'll catch up with you on the side too.
Cool. Yeah, I know Bo's going to be there with me as well.
Yeah, we'll have to have a conversation, Chance, about that one store.
Wink, wink.
Exeter, right? Yeah, talk about it.
So I want to follow back up with the rental rate locks. So are you requiring a year-long lease and payment up front, or can they just leave whenever?
As far as I know, they can leave whenever. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, again, as Carlos and Scott said yesterday, the best thing about our industry, we're a month-to-month lease where there's no long-term anything. So the only time I've ever done the pay ahead was when I gave a discount for that. Is when I paid 12 months ahead back during COVID to give somebody a special deal. But even if they left early and we refunded the money, it wasn't a big deal. But Randy, you're not doing it. You're not locking anybody in for that. It's, you're just locking the rate. If they're there, they're there. If they're not, they're not, right?
Right. They're there, they're not, they're not. So
We all know they're going to be there because length of stay is, Matt, what are you seeing right now for average length of stay industry-wise? It's got to be like 22 months.
Yeah, I would say.
Well, the last thing I saw Extra Space put out was 17.
Yeah.
But I think there's the one thing I was looking at when I was analyzing some stuff was not just the average length of stay of like the entire property. I started looking at like what the average length of stay was from people who moved in from like 2023 or 2022. And
it's less.
Properties
it's quite a bit less.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was one of the properties I looked at, it was significantly less. So I think that there's this idea that when we're looking at average length of stay, and we've all done this, there's again the people who have been there since the Mets won the World Series in '86, and then there's the people that moved in yesterday. And really kind of delving into what that mix is, I think makes a big difference. But I think the other problem is, and one of my colleagues has said this, is that with the rate system that they've had, the revenue management systems, we may very well be training people to stay less.
Okay. Matt, I can tell you whenever I calculate length of stay for a property, so depending on the unit, say they have 500 occupied units, I take the top 50 off and the bottom 50 off. I try to get that mean. I always take off a good percentage top and bottom because I always want to see that, because you're always going to people that are in there for forever that's going to skew your data. So I take the top 10% and the bottom 10% right out of the equation just to see what it really is.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. I think it gives a better idea, but I'm also wanting to see what the last couple of years are. Like, what are my people that are coming in? How long are they in the last couple of years? How long are they staying? Because like Randy was saying, it's significantly different from what I've seen.
It is. And if you have ProRise, you can choose and pick your dates. So I try to go around the college time. So I'll look at people who moved in from May of one year till May the next year. And I've gone back and done that. And you're really at the median length of stay, meaning half move out before and half move out after. At some of my properties is as low as 6.5 months. And others it's about 9 or 10 months. And so I figure the average is about 7.5, 8 months if somebody moves in today.
Well, you said that, Randy, because back in the day, my buddy Dave Demchuk, who was with up in Canada, the reason why they started pushing their rate increases before 9 months, because they had so many people who were moving out after 9 months that they wanted to try to get a rate increase before they went out the door to try to bring it up a little bit. So I think that's kind of where it started back in the day. People are looking at those numbers differently. And again, when you're looking at markets, whether it's, Seattle, Washington, or Midland, Texas, or wherever these ones are, the secondary markets, there could be a big swing in that as well. And the big cities, like I'm sure, even in Michigan, you got Detroit, Ann Arbor, all those ones. You're probably seeing a swing there too.
Large swing there, and the other thing we look at is people who move out every month, who moved out and had a rate increase versus who moved out and didn't have a rate increase.
Right.
So if you give a rate increase and you have 12% of your customers move out, and then you have 8% of your customers who didn't get a rate increase move out, your actual people who moved out from a rate increase is 4%. The delta between the two, you got to make the quantum leap that if 8% of your people are moving out that didn't get a rate increase, eight of the 12% that did, we're going to move out anyway.
That's that one report in Sightling, Randy. Yeah. I love the move out one. It tells you how many months after a rate increase did somebody move out.
Correct, and it's not always 30 days. It's we track it for up to 90 days.
So
some of them move out before the rate increase hits, which means they get the letter and they go, "I'm out of here before it hits."
Yeah. Well, on that one report, you got 0 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 plus. So you can tell that case that they're going to move out when they get the rate increase. They get the letter. So it does happen.
And you could actually take that a step forward and you can start looking at the percentage of increase based off of standard rate to find out what your elasticity is, right? What's the actual breaking point of that customer? Obviously you have to have a pretty good data set to look at it, but it'll give you a really good idea of how much of an increase to set per whatever the standard rate is for that particular unit size based off of occupancy.
Well, chance you can add another part to it if you're using the good, better, best model like Veritech or ProRise. If you got somebody in a 10 by 10, it's a $100 10 by 10, but that unit's valued at 120, and you're basing the rate increase off the 120. There's another part of the metric there as well. So you got to be able to look at all pieces of it and understand. And that's why it drives me nuts when I consult with people and they don't look at data. They don't track inquiries. They don't track move outs. They don't track rate increases. And I'm like, what do you just do? Close your eyes and throw a dart at the dartboard and hope it sticks? It's like, what are you doing? Corey, you know it's true, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing what I see as that goes. Throw at the dart. Let's just throw it all at it. See what sticks.
Shane just said what gets measured gets improved. And I've always said everywhere I've been, you can't make a good business decision on bad data or no data.
Fact.
I'm curious because it comes up often as well when it comes to doing the rate increases. Let's say you're doing them pretty consistently, meaning once a year, okay, for your average tenant. Are you kind of falling in line with a percentage, and like 5%, 8%, that kind of thing, or?
Back in the day, for me, it was always 10% or standard, whatever was less, as a rule. And then you started playing with that depending on occupancy and things like that. But I go back to what Bob Copper said years ago, and it still sticks with me today, that people are more likely to get, if you give them regular rate increases, they're more likely to accept them than if you don't give somebody a rate increase for 2 years and then you hit them.
Yeah.
So by giving somebody a rate every year that they're there, for people who've been there long term, they kind of are used to, I'm going to get a $10, $15. Okay, great. But if they don't have one for 2 or 3 years and then you get one, like we've taken over properties that haven't had rate increases for 3 years and you give them one and like, holy hell, the world's going to end. Because they never had one before.
And worse than that, they give their entire property a rate increase at the same time. So they have 500 units and they send 500 letters out to give a rate increase.
Horrible.
And it's like that is the worst business decision you could ever make. And I see it over and over and over again.
I'm sure Shannon would love those calls at the call center.
Yeah.
You're killing me, man. I was
All
literally
day.
just thinking, I'm not sure if that's worse or if I never do rate increases is worse. Like,
But it's a guy who never did a rate increase and then decides
Yes.
that they're going to go. And then they go, oh, I'm going to give a $3 rate increase to my entire
gosh.
to my entire property. So the guy who's paying $250 for a 10 by 20 is going to pay $253, and the poor guy paying $19 for a 5 by 10 gets moved up to 22, and they just they miss
All
the
right, so
boat.
Randy, I have to ask. I mean, I know in all the software you can set the min and the max on there. My min was always $7. I never did anything less than $7 because I didn't want to be the one sending out a $2 rate increase.
Mm-mm.
What was yours?
I 10. I'm not giving you a $10 rate increase. I'm not going to send you a letter. I'm not going to kick a customer if it's not worth my time.
Right, because a rate increase is a rate increase. I'm not
Yeah.
doing the math
Yeah.
typically. I'm
Yeah.
just going, ah, you raised my rate. If you're only
Exactly.
doing that for $2, oh goodness. No.
Oh my God.
And I have some third party owners. They want, they'll give everybody no more than $5. It's like, okay, but
So,
don't send the letter for $5.
so can I ask a question? Because it seems like everybody, we've had this, I've listened to you guys before, and it seems like you guys all know, bad practices, but we still have not raised our rates. We've been open for 4 years and we still haven't raised them. And so I know our people are going to be like, those people going, oh my God, why are you raising them now? Is there something, because I'm worried we're also looking for occupancy. So raising, I don't know. I just want to know, is there a book I can read or something that can tell me what I'm supposed to be doing?
Hire Jim.
Heather, why haven't you done a rate increase in 4 years?
Did you say why?
Yeah.
Well, because I just took over as manager. I didn't know. I'm not in, they haven't told us to. I don't know. The owners, I don't know. I don't know.
when we say they, okay, the owners.
Yes.
First off, again, you don't have to say anything specific, not to get yourself in trouble. Is the owner involved?
Very, but I am the last. Well, very in the sense that I can call them and stuff like that, but not. I think that I'm kind of in charge of doing stuff like this, or at least suggesting stuff.
All right. How big is your facility?
225, I think.
What software do you use?
Storage.
Okay.
How much training have you had, Heather?
0. I'm training myself.
There's your problem right there.
Okay.
That's the problem for that. And Jim, you and I've seen it a lot that these owners have, even 300 unit properties, hire somebody, say, hey, here's the keys. Have good luck. And they don't help you out. So they're not giving you any help.
No, because they don't know either.
They don't know. Yeah.
They don't know either.
They bought a facility without having run self-storage before.
Yeah.
Heather, I think
tribal knowledge. Yeah, you're right.
When we get done with this phone call, take an hour. That's all you need. Take an hour. Get your competition. Take 5 of your closest competitors. See what the prices are. Get your pricing. Make a down and dirty spreadsheet. Okay. See what the difference is. Where you're at versus where they're at.
Okay.
Where's your occupancy? Cut it in half. Where if you're spending $60 on a unit and they're at $80, what if you raise it to 70? Okay.
Okay.
Run that out, and just do the same thing for all your units on your occupancy. You're just doing a projection. This is what the rent raise would look like if we sent these out. And you're going to get back where he hasn't done it in 4 years. I guarantee one of these owners are like, oh my God, everyone's going to leave and they're going to come to my facility with pitchforks and burn the place down. It's not going to happen. Okay,
Heather, I just dropped my email in the contact. Reach out to me after.
I will.
I will give you an hour of guidance.
Oh,
see where it
you're so
goes.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a matter of having the information together. Bring it to your owner. So just
before you send it out.
Okay.
Looks like we have a lot of people in the comments. The last place that I worked at increased 25%. It was terrible getting 25%. Customers calling you for no reason, or was it 25% rate increase without a reason? And there was another question in there that says, how many do you expect to lose after rate increases? Maybe 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
I think that's where people get scared, is the loss. And it's our customers, public storage and Extra Space have proven to us that our customers are a little bit more sticky than we think that they are. And they will stay through rate increases. Not everybody's going to drop the ball immediately and go take their stuff out of storage. So it's just a matter of doing it and doing it with not so much, like, don't go too high. Don't go 10, 20% like some of these people are doing. Don't try to overcorrect now that you're starting to do it.
Right.
And another way to look at it too is you can, at the ones that do stick and they do stay with the rate increase, even if you lost a certain customer basis, you probably already covered that. And now you can actually advertise a higher rate based on your comps and give yourself an opportunity to start driving revenue in a positive direction.
Yeah.
Chance, you're right. I just did a job last year. I think I said it a couple weeks ago. A guy stopped all his rate increases because he was under 85% occupied. But when I looked at his reports, in 7 stores, he had 13 types that were over 100% occupied that he wasn't touching. I'm like, we looked at it, we found $1,300 in rate increases that we could send out.
Wow. And they're exponential. So if somebody takes a $10 rate increase, it's $10 every month.
Right.
And so if one person,
right.
And if somebody's paying $80 and they move out, you've collected $120 at the end of the year, and you have an extra empty space that you're going to rent to somebody else.
At the
So
higher
you
price.
have to look at the higher rate. Even if you rent it at a lower rate, it's higher than what the person that moved out was paying. And you know, the other mistake that I see from owners is, oh, I'm 95% full. I'm doing great. No, you're not. You're 95% full. You're underpriced. You need to raise your rates, and you need to get some people to move out because you have demand that you're not meeting, and the people that are there at a lower rate.
Yeah, I think people forget in our society that storage is a commodity. You've got to be confident that there's going to be other customers that are going to fill that in, even if it does happen, and know it will happen.
Randy, I did a job 3 years ago now. I walked in, the owner handed me his management summary. He was 100% occupied. I looked at it, I said, you're losing $13,000 a month. He goes, no, I'm full. Like, you're losing $13,000 a month. But I can't, I'm full. He didn't understand the difference between occupancy and revenue.
But yeah, and this is where this comes in, where we talk about, I think some of the verbiage, we use revenue management, it's yield management. What we're doing is, what is the quickest path for us to generate the most revenue per square foot, net rentable square foot, period, whatever it is, across the board. And that may not be 85% occupancy in every size code. It may just be, hey, we're here, but we're generating more revenue than we did when we were 85%. It's just generating more yield than you were, not necessarily physical occupancy.
Right.
I've got a quick question. What about on like lease-up projects? I've got a lot of development going. Oh, am I hearing someone else? What would you guys say on like development projects?
Oh, it depends on the market, Mitchell. I personally would rather come in with a stronger street rate and do a longer concession plan, like a 2-month or whatever you're going to do there. Because I've always found it's easier for me to lose the concession, and then my rates are already high enough. But if I come in, say simple math, you come in at your $100 10 by 10, and you come in at say 90 whatever with a good discount, you're going to be there. But if you start at $100 and come in at like a $75 street rental rate, how's it going to take you to get from 75 back up to 100 with rate increases? So I would rather come in. I think, Matt, you and I had this conversation last year. A stronger rate, street rate, and a longer concession will get you where you want to be, depending on what your bank wants you to do. I mean, I got owners who want immediate occupancy. They don't care what the rate is. And other people would rather have the revenue. So I fall on the line. I think, Matt, you and I were on the same page, that I would rather have a stronger rate and a heavier concession.
I'm with you, Jim. Half off 4 months, half off 6 months, whatever it is, because you can turn that spigot off. And if you start renting 10 by 10s for $50 to get them to 150, people have to stay for a really long time, or you're going to make people mad and get yourself a bad reputation.
But and I also want to say that we talk about these REIT revenue type management systems. There's also a big synergistic system that goes along with that. It's not just throwing out a 25% rate increase. There's an entire system of call centers and retention and everything else to push this through. So if you're a single operator and I'm going to emulate what I'm hearing or what I see somewhere else, because hey, extra space just raised them 40%. Be careful with that, because there's an entire ecosystem that revolves around that type of revenue management.
Well, and Matt, to your point on that too, one thing that Jim said earlier that is a little bit of a tiny red flag for me is that you guys, if you're manually doing these comparisons, because I know not everybody has a Veritech or all the things, right? So if you are manually going out and checking their rate, you're getting their special rate. You have no idea what your competitor down the street is charging someone who's been there for 6 months. So if you are constantly comparing your what I'm gonna raise my rate to the price that they put out on the interweb for anybody who's walking in the door, you are constantly chasing the tail end of that dog, right? So I would say be careful about that as well, or factor in a percentage. When you have somebody who walks in your door and says, I want to rent with you because that guy down the street just raised me 25%. Well, then when you go do that manual calculation, do yourself a favor and factor in 25% more if I'm going to raise my rate, because you know that's where they're going. That being said, 25% is too much. And I have got to give you guys a real life example. I was in Louisiana last week. They had revenue management was the topic of conversation for their luncheons in New Orleans and in Bossier City. One of the questions for the panel that I was on was with regards to doing gut pricing. Is there anybody out there basically doing gut pricing? And when I saw that, I will admit that I thought they were talking about like, what percentage should I increase? Like, is there anybody just kind of guessing? That wasn't even the question. What they were actually asking was how many people out there were still saying, that guy who just pulled up in the parking lot, he's driving a fancy car. I'm going to make his rate be this. Or I know Mrs. Johnson's story, so I can't raise her rate because, I know she can't pay another $12 a month gut pricing. And I about had a heart attack. I was like, you guys, if everybody does not know, your price increases should be unit type specific and have absolutely nothing to do with the tenants. You cannot put a name or a face and it is 5x10s. Where am I on my 5x10 climate controlled units? And where is that price compared to what our competitors are charging? Please, I'm begging you, if they wear nice boots into your office, don't charge them more or charge them less because their dog just died. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gravy.
It's a really good call out, Shannon. A couple of things to add too. Just remember that if you have a REIT or whatever open up down the block and they floor all their rates because they're in lease up, don't freak out. Just ride the storm, and eventually they'll fill up and their rates will go back up. Don't try to match their rates because you're just shooting your revenue right out the door. And then also remember along with that even when you're doing that manual price comparison, you don't know the occupancy of that facility down the road. So you may have to do a little bit of digging in order to find out why your rates double what theirs are. They could very well have just put in an additional 100 units, right? And so they're flooring their rates on that too. So just something to be mindful of.
Yeah, to what Jens just said, we had one of my clients had a not a REIT, but a large mid-tier operator open up a brand new store. And I think second floor 10x10s are $27. Now, doing feasibility studies, I know that doesn't work. So there's going to be some heavy revenue management on the back end, but I'm not rushing to match that. That's insanity.
Right.
Yeah, nothing makes me happier when I'm doing a walk through the property and I see extra space or public storage locks on my doors. Because I know they were there and I know they left to come to us because they did something stupid.
They moved over to you.
Nothing makes me happier than when I see that.
But
I think
remember your people too. I'm sorry, Andy, but remember your people too. I was doing a feasibility study and I walked into one of the REITs and walked in. The manager was phenomenal. Loved her. I would have hired her for a heartbeat. But the poor girl looked like she had PTSD. She said, she looked at me and said, she goes, and they're going to raise you in 3 months. She did exactly that.
Wow.
So, be careful
Don't
about
call me
burning out.
screaming
You're
about
thinking
it.
about all these other things. You're going to burn out and turn over staff too with stuff like that.
They do.
I think the caveat though to rate increases in that it's kind of an industry standard. If you guys can, or we'll have a debate about it. Kind of like what you were talking about a little bit, Shannon, is not profiling people. We somewhat type of in our industry. We type in some way we do, especially if we see a customer who's on auto payments, because those are the ones that stick. And those are the ones that usually, not unless they review their credit card statement, are looking at that. So that's kind of like the one little, I'll admit, that's one little profile that some of us do is look at who's on auto CC or auto payments.
Right.
And do that, because those you can do look at it and be like, hey, they've been here for 13, 18 months, and they got one rate increase, they're on auto pay and they haven't moved, so they're not going anywhere.
Right.
There's one last comment I want to get in, because Jim usually does this at the beginning. For anybody who's new into the industry, like we were talking a few moments ago, and I'm not promoting it because I haven't gone through it. I know that Tommy over at Storage Pog and the team over there just released their own training modules. Has anybody gone through them or any feedback on it?
No, I haven't heard anything on them.
So I have
So
a
if
question.
you
What
go ahead.
platform was it? I missed what you said. What platform?
So Storage Pog recently
Oh,
just
yeah.
came out with the full training, from from somebody who's new. And all I'm trying to do is give a resource, really, but I haven't been through it, so I'm not putting on my experience. But I was seeing if anybody has, at least poked around in there and kind of get feedback for, like I was saying, Jim, normally you come on in the beginning and ask if anybody's new, on here. And if anybody's new, that's just a resource I'm trying to provide besides this group and or Mr. Mooney himself. So
Yeah, we actually brought it up last week. I kind of did a quick little
Oh.
walkthrough of the Storage Pug Storage Academy, right? I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Haven't had a chance to really dig into it yet. I just saw platform was there, go over there to start messing around and play with it. More education, the better. I know they have it all well organized. So.
I just threw it in the chat too, so if anybody wants to
good.
click on that link.
Matt, you made a really good point though for your managers. Educating the managers on the rate increases, because I can tell you when I first got to Freedom, he was one of my best managers down the road. He hated me when I got there because we were changing everything, and he was so focused on occupancy. One day he was just really mad. I'm like, well, I finally locked it. Stan, what's your problem? Because we're losing money. So I pulled a management summary from that day and from the same day a year ago. And I said, Stan, you are correct. We are down 6% in occupancy, but we were up 18% in revenue. And he said to me, he goes, nobody ever explained that to me. Sure. Same thing with rate increases. When you're doing the rate increases, I think I talked about it before. We actually gave our managers a rent negotiation form. So when a customer came in and was complaining about a rate increase, the manager was, okay, let me see what I can do. And then he would fill out the rent negotiation form on how occupied was the unit, how many inquiries we had. Yep. We had 7 criteria on that thing that they knew when they answered those questions, they knew whether we were going to do anything with the rate increase or not. And one of the biggest one was, how many times has this person been late? But when you educate the manager and give them the tools they need, I'm talking for Heather right now because she hasn't had anything, but when we can educate our managers to have a better understanding of why we're doing certain things, when we're doing certain things, and how we're doing it, and the effect it's going to have, it's better for them on the front end so they don't get that whatever the hell you just said, for the shell shock from the customers screaming at them, because they have a better understanding of why we're doing it.
And I think that what Jim say, it works for like the way we do it or historically have done it. But the poor girl at the REIT that I was talking to, it's hard to have any sheet when you got a 40% increase in one shot.
Yeah. And it creates a them versus us. So that what happens is the manager becomes disconnected.
Yeah,
and they go, they make me give you the rate increase, and it should be a we conversation.
Yeah,
when you
I mean, this is my store.
Yeah.
I know my value. I have these units, and if you go up the street, they're going to cost you more. My value is there, but they don't do that. They just do the 40% and put their poor manager under the bus.
The poor manager becomes cannon fodder.
Yep.
And then they burn
absolutely
out.
horrifying. I've been there, and it's absolutely horrifying. If you're the person that sits behind the desk and you worked for the same company for 6.5 years, and then somebody comes to the door and they start screaming at you, making threats to you because a rate increase magically appeared. Well, I didn't do that. That didn't specifically come from me. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the day, you think about it, you're like, okay, so in a matter of 6 years, I've gotten 10 physical, additional bullcrap from tenants that came in here screaming at me and threatening me. Then you just start telling people, listen, this is what's going to happen. You're going to rent here for 3 months. It's a fantastic rate. You're going to get it for $30 on your 10 by 10. Now on month 4, you're going to get that rate increase. Month 5, that rate increase is going to be 25 to 40%. Now expect that, because don't come in here screaming at me afterwards, because I'm telling you right up front. I'm not trying to deter you from renting here. So if it's short term, fantastic. But if it is long term, don't come in here yelling at me after the fact, after I just explained it to you. It literally got to that point to where you start to decide whether your job was more important than people making threats to you.
Your life,
It becomes
right?
overwhelming.
And since that's a real life thing in our industry where like that has happened, where someone freaked out and walked into a store.
It happened recently, Shannon.
It did. I know, in Arizona, and it's horrifying. And so I want you guys to know, just in general, we train our team like we know what we do here in a call center perspective is through a phone. And we try everything we can think of to make sure we set people up for success, because I always tell them, you're through a telephone. Like, nobody can get you, nobody can hurt you. But when they walk into a store, Cassie's got 24 inches of Formica between them and potentially this really angry person. And so we do try to just make sure, like, nothing ever gets blamed on a manager. Nothing, like, I do not ever want anybody to walk into a store and freak out on a live human being because our team couldn't take being screamed at over the telephone. You know what I mean? So it's not safe, Cassie. You're absolutely right. And I don't love how they do that.
And that's where managers have to be smart. Before they show a unit, they need to take the customer's driver's license and put it in the computer and leave it up on the screen. When they walk out to show a unit, the customer goes in the unit. They stand outside. They never go inside the unit with the customer. And it's just, you got to be smart.
Yeah.
That's
why I'm so happy that SafeHug
cameras
is out now. You guys saw that new program, that new release from SafeHug, that they have that new app out there that any manager at a remote store, I know if I still had my stores, I would be putting it everywhere. I mean, look for Christina at San Antonio, but SafeHug is really taking manager safety. And not only that, the benefits for health and other things like that, but look up SafeHug with the 2G.
Can you bring them on here? That would be a great one to do a little 10
We've
minute.
talked to Christina about that. Yeah, she's going to come on and do that. And they actually just signed up their new vendor partner for SBOA. So we're doing that. And
awesome.
They'll be in
I'm
San
supposed to meet
Antonio.
with her at the Women's Council. They're actually what's the word? Sponsoring. They're actually sponsoring that meeting next week.
They're doing a lot of great things, and I think that the product is well needed and well past due for our industry, especially for any remote people. Look, we have most of our managers one person in the store by themselves, and I mean I had a lot of female managers, and I always worked. I mean, I remember one night, Shannon, I got a call from a manager said they got an alarm call. They were going to the store. I said, not without me. I got up and I went and met them there because I didn't want them there at 10 o'clock at night
Call
by
the
themselves.
police. Like that sounds like a police situation to me, Jim Mooney. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was just, basically an alarm call, whatever, but I still didn't want them. My wife goes, oh, you're being over dramatic. I said, no, I said, me by myself, maybe, but no, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to risk my managers.
Well, guys, that's been an hour.
Wow.
It flies. Once again, hey, if you're on here, got to turn your cameras on. We're doing our selfie for the YouTube thumbnail. But again, I just want to say, really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy days to join us here every Friday for these meetups. I mean, we had 80 of us on today. It's great. If you want to got some value out of it, Heather, I'm talking to you. Have your owner jump on. I promise we won't bite.
Keep asking.
Maybe a little.
Yeah. Seriously, you got to do that. So that's what we're here for. I think you kind of already got a feel for it, that we're here to help. We're learning from each other as much as we're helping others coming in the industry, trying to figure this thing out as well. So that's what we're here for. So,
as always, Mr. Ross, thank you for hosting this thing. I know we're just here helping out, but without your everything behind the scenes, I appreciate what you do every week and the effort you put into this. So
I appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you, guys. All right, we gotta do our selfie. Count of 3. Smile pretty. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, one more.
Yeah.
Got too many people on. This is good. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Sweet. All right. Thank you guys. I know a lot of you will probably be at the San Antonio show next week. Those of you who are still coming on here, if you are still able to make it while you're in San Antonio, welcome to come on. I'm thinking next week I'm going to try, I was going to do it today, but we kind of ran out of time, doing like a little mixer. We'll do some breakout rooms to give people more of a chance to kind of more of a one-on-one small group, just to say hi, introduce themselves, get to know the group a little bit better. So we'll shoot for that next week as well.
I'll be on here live from San Antonio next week, Jim. I promise.
I want
trying
you
to find a few other people to get on there with us.
I want you walking the floor and doing like Jim on the streets and interviewing people. Come on.
Do it.
I'm shy. I can't do that.
He's incredibly shy.
Yeah, right.
Jim Mooney.
Yeah. We
He just
believe
made
that.
himself blush by
Yeah.
saying that. Look how red his face turned.
All right. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
See you
See you
next
Happy
next week.
weekend. Have a good weekend, everybody.